death, taxes, and you could beat the hell out of the Colorado Rockies pitching staff. Like, isn't that the way it is at Coors? Like, you go to Coors, like, get yourself back in gear for a playoff run, and it looks like that's what the Dodgers are doing. Today, the Dodgers are going to take on Colorado once again in Colorado with nice weather conditions. Warm weather in Colorado is a perfect match. Also mix in terrible pitchers, which Colorado has, an even better match. Shohei Ohtani is going to be on the mound today for the Dodgers going up against Tanner Gordon, who is terrible. The total's listed at 11.5, not because we think that Shohei Ohtani isn't going to shut it down. It's just how many more runs can you score if you are the Dodgers? Maybe double digits again is expected today, but it is a heavy favorite for Ohtani. Some outlets, Joe, as high as 325 as a favorite. And I don't see much pushback going like, yeah, well, Gordon's going to shut down the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers might go for 2 touchdowns on offense tonight, Joe. How about that?
A huge steam move overnight, minus 225 to over $3 now. And by the way, we have no idea how long Ohtani is going to go at this particular point. He hasn't gone, more than 4 innings in any particular start. We were wondering when they were going to kind of stretch him out. But don't forget, we got this a Colorado team that prior to yesterday had won 4 straight, including game 1 of this series. And now, well, they came back down to reality yesterday, and they're throwing out a gas can in Tanner Gordon here.
Ooh,
so
boy,
I would maybe go to the alt market and say, you know what, give me the Dodgers team total, whatever obnoxious number it is in the alt market. It feels like the Dodgers could put up another double-digit score here today on their own.
Yeah, last 30 days, if we look at Tanner Gordon's statistics here, strikes out 12% of the batters he's faced. That's not good when you're playing in the thin air of Coors Field. You also take a look at his power numbers against, a 196 if you combine righty and lefties, and a 442 weighted on base percentage, combining lefty and righties as well. You also take a look at that Dodgers lineup with Shohei Ohtani and Will Smith and Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez and Andy Pages, lining up over the past month to smash right-handed pitching. 89-degree temperatures, Joe, today. At night in Colorado, wind blowing out double digits to left field. And you're right about Tanner Gordon. Since July 1st, he has a K rate per 9 innings of 5.9. We just told you it was low over the past 30 days. It's still low over the past 45 days. An xFIP minus number of 121. But how about an ERA that sits at 11 for the past 45 days? And the Dodgers here looking to be fresh to hammer tonight. But it is always, like Joe, last night, the team total for the Dodgers was seven. I want to say minus 7.5 because if you look at football line, 7.5 at like a minus 110 price, and they smacked it.
Yep. And Ohtani, by the way, 44th home run last night, ties him with Schwarber in the National League. And call me crazy, I don't know. Is it minus money for a Ohtani home run tonight? Because something tells me he could very well lead the game off with a home run. That would not shock me at all.
He had the TV on yesterday, and ESPN Bet said it was their lowest home run price they've ever had in the history of the app was on Ohtani at plus 100, and he hit a home run. There were other apps, which I saw people tweeting yesterday on X, that had Ohtani at minus Joe. Like a minus 113 to hit a home run in a Major League Baseball game. And by the way, did you see Ohtani's home run? It looked like a simple line drive into the gap, but it's Colorado. It just sailed into the seats, man. It was outrageous.
Crazy. And again, that's why today wouldn't shock me. He tends to also early in games hit the ball pretty well there before he gets out to the mound. So would not shock me here if all of a sudden first at bat bomb by Ohtani.
Yep, wouldn't shock me tonight either if Texas gets like 6 runs in the first inning. They're going to take on Kansas City again today. Kumar Rocker's on the mound against Cameron, the lefty. Cameron, the lefty, has been very good this season for Kansas City. It's roughly a pick 'em across the board here with a total of about 8, but I believe Rocker was just inserted as what we believe to be the starting pitcher today. It almost had like a bullpen guy in the beginning, but it looks like it is going to be Rocker today. How do we feel about Texas and Kansas City?
Well, it was actually supposed to be DeGrom, but he was scratched overnight.
Right.
So, And now they've got then it was going to be the bullpen. And now, of course, we've got Rocker here. And it's interesting, too, because we still have a Royals team that ranks dead last in production at home. They only score about a little over 3 runs per game at Kauffman. Cameron's been great. 2 earned runs or fewer, 13 of his 17 starts this season for the rookie. Call me crazy. I'll take the under. I got no problem looking at the under.
7:40 tonight. 8 is the total out there. It is warm again. Kansas City seems like, you don't really think about like the Midwest, Joe, is heating up, man. Every time I look at Kansas City, it's like damn near 90 degrees every time they play a game. Vinny Pasquantino last Saturday, Joe, was so hot he left the game with dizzy spells and blacking out because how hot it was on the field, man. Crazy. By the way, Vinny P popped a home run last night. More Major League Baseball talk includes the Philadelphia Phillies and the Mariners coming up. Oh, yeah. Seattle and Philadelphia afternoon edition, Joe. 1 p.m. at Citizens Bank Ballpark. The Phillies bats have really awakened over the past couple of days. Home run after home run after home run. You want Chore bombs? You got him. You want JT Realmuto finding his power stroke as one of the best hitters in baseball over the past month coming out of the All-Star break? You're getting that with the Phillies right now. And also, if you get to the 9th inning with a lead for the Phillies, it's no longer, oh, no, Jordan Romano's in the game. No, it's Johan Duran. The Durantula comes out and shuts things down today. It's Luis Castillo, veteran on the mound. Jesus Luzardo, sometimes really good, every once in a while, really bad. The Phillies are a favorite today, Joe, and overnight, that line is creeping up. The 135s, they're no longer there. The 142s you'll see on this graphic, they're no longer there. We're in the mid-150s for the Phillies as a favorite today in the total, bouncing back between 8.5 and 9, depending on where you're shopping at. Castillo, Luzardo, in Philly, runs?
Yeah, well, it could very well be here. I mean, this road trip, and we had mentioned it yesterday, it's starting to take its toll on the Mariners, this East Coast trip. They lost in Baltimore. They lost in Queens, Williamsport, now Philadelphia over the last week. They have been, they're going through it right now. However, they've won 8 of the last 10, started by Castillo here, but he's coming off an absolute blasting by the Mets, 6 runs, 9 hits in 4 innings here. But the Mariners scored 11 against those awful Mets pitchers, so kind of bailed him out. He's been giving up the long ball, Castillo, a lot. I think 6 home runs in his last 15 and a third this month. He was not very good. I think Luzardo, whatever that was in July, he's kind of figured it out. He's settled down here over his last 4 starts. The Phillies have won 3 of his last 4 starts. I don't see why the Phillies aren't winning this game either. In fact, I'd even lay the run line with the Phillies because I think runs are coming in a big way.
Yeah, take a look at the XFIP minus numbers. Castillo, 83, Joe, over the past 45 days, which is very good. Jesus Luzardo, 86, like even comp there. You also take a look at Luis Castillo since the first of the month, which we're talking about not August, but back to July, so about 45 days or so. He's got a 3.33 ERA, which isn't bad. Luzardo's a little bit higher at 4.53 because he does tend to have the strikeout great starts and every once in a while that really bad start. But you're saying, like, as well as I do, he's sort of figuring things out on the fly, and he's probably on the better end of it now. But the one interesting thing that you look at is like seasonal statistics, where you look at like the road starts here and home starts. Jesus Luzardo at home this year, Joe, 5.23 ERA, but a 3.21 XFIP number. It's almost like, what do you trust? The analytics of the whole thing, or do you just go and say, you know what, the ERA? Because last night we talked about Shane Baz. Like, you're like, I don't give a damn about the analytics. Look at his ERA, and they got crushed last night. But then you take a look at the road starts on the season when you're getting to Luis Castillo. He's at about a 5. Like, so something has to give today, and the Phillies bats are red hot. We'll see when the official lineups come out, but that's a 105 start today in Philadelphia. Let's get back to Tampa. Scene of the crime last night, Joe. Hammered the New York Yankees. They won easy last night, 9 home runs, and now we see Rasmussen on the mound, who has very good statistics here over the past month, going up against Schlitter. If you look at the lines, a slight favorite overnight to Tampa Bay, depending where you're shopping at, it's still 116s, 118s, and 120s as a favorite towards Tampa, and an 8.5 total. Does anything change in your mind today, or the Yankees bats just stay smoking hot in Tampa, and away they go?
Well, Rasmussen has kind of been the guy for Tampa, right? I mean, he has been the guy that when they need a good start, keep the runs down. He has kind of been the guy to do that. However, I don't know with the way the Yankees are hitting right now. I mean, over the last week, they got over a 150 WRC plus. You got Judge hitting 3 home runs in his last 6 games, and Yankees in that ballpark. Now, the only problem you're looking at is that the Yankees know what's coming up this week. Boston back in the Bronx, which is a big series. But how are we sweating out an under in this game in any way, shape, or form? It feels like over might be the look, especially since the bullpen for Tampa yesterday had to be called in because they were throwing batting practice there, Shane Baz last night. So it feels like runs could be coming, and a lot of them in this game again.
Like, remember, like, the old school owners, Joe, from like the 1920s, 30s, and 40s? Like, they built baseball stadiums with giant fences, not because like, oh, we just don't want to see a lot of runs. They didn't want to lose the baseballs and pay for more baseballs. So they had those giant fences to keep everything in. Maybe they think about that because, you know, he's penny pinching down there in Tampa. There's no doubt about it on payroll. There's too many home runs we're giving away in balls here. Hey, maybe you got to build a new stadium with bigger walls at that point. We'll see how it factors in. But by the way, Aaron Judge, minus 145 at some outlets here to win MVP. So even the home run last night not helping him out so much. And a quick update here as we talked about the Philadelphia Phillies. Christopher Sanchez was second in line to win the Cy Young based on the odds market. He shortened those odds on Paul Skeens because even though he didn't factor into the win because the bullpen was terrible, talking about O'Brien Kirkering, he was sensational. I think 7 or 8 times this year, Joe. 10-plus strikeouts for Christopher Sanchez, who steps into that ace role for the Philadelphia Phillies, and we'll see how that goes down the stretch here. But more Major League Baseball games certainly to talk about today, and that includes San Francisco and San Diego. San Diego picked up the victory yesterday, trying to chase down the Dodgers. Landon Raup will be on the mound for the Giants, going up against J.P. Sears, the lefty for what used to be the Athletics, who now he pitches for the San Diego Padres. A 158, 160 price point in the marketplace, 8s across the board. I just think San Diego's better than San Francisco. I don't love the price point, but I don't think San Francisco wins this. The bats just aren't there for them this year.
No, they're not. And I just don't know what we're going to get from offensively from them, especially against the lefty in J.P. Sears here. So Landon Raup actually pitched really well his last start coming off the IL. He was actually pretty good in that game. It feels like a dead under to me here in this late game, somewhere around the 8 mark there. I still don't trust either lineup in their worst splits. So, yeah, I think the under is the way I would look in this one.
But no, there you go, Raup, because I don't think I've ever heard his name. I bet him gets him a couple times, but I don't think I've ever heard his name there. It does make sense that it would be Raup as opposed to Raup, though, just trying to phonetically spell it out. So we'll go with that, Landon. See how you like that. See, show some respect for that. The lineup tonight for the Padres, Tatis, Arise, Machado, O'Hearn, Bogart, Sheets, Laureano, Cronenworth, and Fermin. That's what we're expecting here. Also still waiting, Jackson Merrill in that lineup has been down for a couple days as they're waiting for him to get back in there. We'll see if he pops up tonight, but I just think they're the better team. You look at San Francisco, it's like, is San Francisco, Joe, like the new Mariners back in the day? Like, we've always, like, San Francisco's never had great hitting lineups. Now, they won a lot of World Series and did it differently in like the mid-2000s, but the new addition is like every night I look at them, the lineup just looks like it stinks, and they can't get anybody to help them out, which includes Rafael Devers. How do you, like, it's so hard to bet teams like, hey, I like them as an underdog. Like, well, what are you going to get, 3 hits out of them tonight?
Yeah, if you're lucky, and that's the problem. And it's not exactly a hitter's ballpark either. So this is going to be interesting. Runs could very well be hard to come by.
No doubt about it. By the way, the Padres still sit 2 games back of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Both of those teams won their last game. Last 10 games, the Dodgers only 5-5, and the San Diego Padres at 6-4. And you're right there. When you take a look at the Colorado Rockies, just playing spoiler, they're 36 games back in that division, but they are 6-4 in their last 10. And I think they were doing like a side-by-side yesterday on TV from the Colorado Rockies and the Dodgers on like 1 game separation outside of the All-Star break. So they're playing better. And by the way, we always talk about, Joe, don't throw out teams just because they're bad, because there's ways that you can make money on those. The Rockies and their team totals, the same thing like the Chicago White Sox. They present themselves very well on a day-to-day basis. Their pitchers just can't help them out. And yes, if you lose the game 10-7, I lost on the Rockies. Did you? You should have just took their 4.5 last night, which again, no one scored 4 runs. But that team can hit a little bit at that point. They're a fun team to watch, and always at Colorado, but it's always the eye scape, Joe. How do you just take teams where it's like, hey, you know what? Let me get that team total at 7.5. I think it's broken brain syndrome, but you know they're going to get it tonight. Talking about the Dodgers getting 8+. You know they're going to get it.
Yeah, the runs are definitely coming in that game any which way. Yeah. The question to me is, what is Colorado? Are they going to get to Ohtani early, or are they going to get to the bullpen of the Dodgers late? But I do think the runs are coming tonight.
Yeah, how about a leadoff home run by Ohtani tonight, and he comes out and strikes out the side in the bottom of the first inning. Away the MVP goes into the rest of his campaign. More Major League Baseball coming up next. The Brewers and the Cubs. Can the Cubs win another one and sort of get in that rear view mirror? And also, the Astros. How about a run? Anytime would be great, guys. You can do it today. Biz Marquis used to say one key phrase here: nobody beats the Miz. Well, nobody beats the Miz either. Mizraski's back on the mound, and apparently now, Joe, some people can beat the Miz and the Milwaukee Brewers, and that is the Chicago Cubs. They'll tangle tonight at Wrigley, 8:05. You said it, and as well as I agreed with. Maybe the best thing that ever happened to the Cubs was that washout of the first doubleheader. Like, they were probably going to get their head planted in both of those games. You get killed in game number one, you take a deep breath, and then you come back and win your own doubleheader. And now you have Colorado on the mound versus Mizraski, who didn't have a great start his last time out, only lasting like 2 innings. 116, 115 favorite here towards Milwaukee going up against Chicago. A total that's listed at 7. No need to understand what the weather conditions are. You see the graphic, 6.5. That wind's blowing in. The big Miz on the mound versus Ray. Can the Cubs win another one to sort of climb back into that race against the Milwaukee Brewers in the Central?
I do not think so. Listen, the Cubs all year long have been one of the best teams in Major League Baseball in bouncing back after a loss. You know, one of the other really good teams there, the Milwaukee Brewers here. So wasn't a shock. We had mentioned it yesterday. We thought the Cubs' best chance of winning was game 1 behind Boyd. They got it done, and then they caught Woodruff when it wasn't great form, got his first loss there for the Brewers. So be it. But I think Miz gets back here tonight at Wrigley, gets back on track. It was his first start last time out off that, that short stint on the IL because of the ankle. So I think he'll be fine. The Cubs bats, I still don't trust them at all. And I think the Brewers will bounce back in a big way at a really good price here tonight.
Yeah, Colin Ray's not a bad pitcher, but let's take a look at some of those statistics. Last 45 days, he's actually down the list on xFIP at 4.37, which isn't a total disaster, but it's really high. His ERA is better. His xFIP minus is a 106. If we look at Ray's starts at home this season, he goes to a 4.13 ERA and a 4.37 xFIP number. But whenever you take a look at the lineups now, still, even though Chicago's had a couple nice at-bats over the past couple days, last 30 days don't really show up all that well, that Brewers lineup just looks great. Like Frelick, Durbin, Contreras, Yelich, Vaughn, Collins, Turang, Perkins, and Ortiz. It's not even household names, but all of those guys mashing for the most part with ISOs and weighted on base percentages against right-handed pitching, but double-digit wins blowing in. Wonder how many home runs we get when maybe not a Christian Yelich right field scoreboard shot is in order today, but you can still score runs at Wrigley even if the wind is blowing in. So something certainly to keep an eye on at that point. Cincinnati and LA, they're going to tangle again on the West Coast in Anaheim. Nick Martinez will be on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds going up against Yusei Kikuchi. 927, 928 on the rotation, a 938 start. Favorite towards LA tonight, 135s, 136, 137s in the marketplace, and a total that's listed at 8.5. Kikuchi Martinez out on the West Coast.
Yeah, we saw some early Cincinnati money in this one, but I'm shocked. 8.5. I'm not, 9 maybe as a total. This feels like, and we know Kikuchi's slowing down as the season grows longer. His numbers are showing you a little more hard contact, a little more lift on the ball. I don't trust Nick Martinez. I do think both these teams are more than capable of putting the ball out of the ballpark there and scoring some runs. And you know as well as I do, that bullpen of the Reds, the only bullpen that might be worse is the Angels here. And I think both bullpens are going to get involved in this game, and I think the runs are coming.
I think you're right. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like Nick Martinez, you just can't trust the guy. Like if he pitches 7 innings, gives up 1 earned run, you're like, so be it. I got beat on that bet. But what's realistic, right? He's bounced before the 5th inning, 3 earned runs. In comes the bullpen. Nice weather in LA, and things line up that way. And you say Kikuchi, last 45 days in Major League Baseball, he does have a decent xFIP minus number, but that ERA, Joe, over a 5. So you're right. Wearing down as the season goes on. Like, can you say Kikuchi be really this good? No, he can have good starts. He's not a great pitcher, and maybe starting to come back down to earth at that point. Houston and Detroit, a 1:00 game. And if you're playing terrible baseball, sometimes you just want to get back on the field as fast as you can to turn things around. We've had 3 straight games, which included an extra inning game, that the Houston Astros have not scored a run. Framber Valdez is on the mound. So you figure, hey, guys, I can hold this team down 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Can you help me out? Charlie Morton's not a great pitcher. There's a reason why Houston is a favorite after having an absolute 0, literally 0, the past 3 nights. They're favored by about minus 126 to minus 130, depending on where you're shopping at this point now. And a total that's listed at 8 to 8.5. I don't think that 8.5's popping in there because we don't think Houston's going to score. And also Detroit is going to light up Framber Valdez. I think they're on to something. Those 7.5s to 8s to 8.5s, I think that makes sense, Joe. I think we might get a sneaky game today where Houston comes out with the victory.
Well, they're going to have to score more runs than they have the last 3 games, Donnie, because collectively in those games, they haven't scored a run. 12-0 to Baltimore, they lost. 10-0 to Detroit, and then 1-0, of course, last night. And Framber, I don't know, is he getting tired here? 0-2 with a 5.89 ERA in 3 August starts. And the Astros have dropped what? His past 4? And you've got a Detroit team that hits lefties pretty darn well here. So we're going to need the bats to turn around in a big way. And good old Charlie Morton, boy, I tell you, sometimes he just gets to be, old and old looking. And I think maybe runs could be coming here today for both these teams. You're not shutting out Houston for a 4th straight game, or are you, Donnie?
That would be wild to watch. As again, yesterday, this wasn't like, hey, whitewash. We finished after 5 innings. It was rain. We had 0 runs. They went to extra innings and still didn't score. Now, granted, we also joked yesterday, hey, when you're struggling at the plate, the last guy you want to see is a lefty like Tarek Skubal that's going to just mess with you the entire night. And they did that. So we'll see if they can clear the cobwebs against a hittable pitcher today that they're going to get on the mound. 73, 74, 75 degrees as the afternoon goes on in Detroit today, Joe, with a double-digit wind blowing out to right field. And understand this. Sometimes you like to ride the streaks. Yes, Houston's been terrible. Just fade them. But you're only as good as the pitcher on the mound the next day. Understand this. You look at Charlie Morton. That's not Tarek Skubal. That's not a left-handed pitcher. That's a right-handed pitcher that will give up runs. If you can't hit today for the Astros, something's got to change. I don't care if it's the manager or Jose Altuve is banished somewhere. Something has to change, but I do think it does change slightly today. So Major League Baseball card, that should be fun. A 12:35 start, by the way, between Toronto and Pittsburgh. Then we get into the 2 1 o'clock games in Philadelphia and in Detroit. And then one afternoon game at 3:40. Then the night slate does start here. Good action in Major League Baseball. We're going to reach out to the public and give best bets in the next segment. Stay tuned. Sending the people out with a winner. It's what we love to do, Joe Ranieri. So you're going to have Major League Baseball on your TV today. Where are you going with a wager on that said game?
Well, I am going to go back to the well. And I had mentioned that, I am not going to stop betting the Milwaukee Brewers, especially at this price when they have clear advantages on the hill. And they got a big advantage here tonight with Mizorowski going up against Colin Ray of the Cubs here. Now, in fact, the last time he faced the Cubs, he actually only gave up, 2 earned runs, but he only went 4 innings because he took that line drive off the body, which is what caused him to get on the IL. But he's already faced this Cubs team. I like him to bounce back after his last start, the first start coming off the IL. Not to mention that you had Ashby throw, 50 pitchers yesterday out of the Brewers bullpen, which means McGill, Uribe, Koenig, Mears, all ready to go here. The arms are in the bullpen. Big advantage for the Brewers. And Colin Ray is a number 3-4 starter here, guys. This is not the ace. This is not Imanaga or somebody along those lines. They don't have an advantage in the bullpen if he gets into trouble. We've only seen Milwaukee lose back-to-back games. They only did it one other time, and that was back in late July. They are not losing 3 games in a row and 4 out of their last 5. I like the bats to come alive here. I like Milwaukee to handle business behind the rookie on the mound.
I'm going to take a slight dog price today on a +110 on those Athletics. People, hear me out. Bailey Ober, not a great pitcher, at home pitching today. 38 batters he's faced in the past month, which were lefties, a 297 ISO and a 368 weighted on base percentage. But understand this, the power numbers are fantastic for this Athletics team. Nick Kurtz, Shea Langoliers, Brent Rooker, Tyler Soderstrom, Lawrence Butler, and J.J. Blade. Most of those are left-handed batters. Absolutely hammers. And by the way, Nick Kurtz leading off, 64 plate appearances, Joe, over the past month against right-handed pitching. How about a 519 ISO and a 687 weighted on base percentage? They'll score runs. They'll win today. I'm taking the plus money, and away we go on our 2-0 day right here on the early line, Joe. Sending people out winners after a 2-hour show. It's how it gets done. It's how you keep the energy high.